there, and hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Love and Action TV and podcast. It's Deconstruction Junction, one of our favorite moments of the week. I'm Dr. Flo, not telling you what I heard, but what I know. What I know is that you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable, and you're going to be loved and lovable for the rest of your life. And I can't change that. Tara can't change that. Poppy, Angie, Loretta, none of us want to change that. This idea that you're loved and lovable and that you can ask for help today for everything that you need in this life, including the fixing of this wig, and believe that help is coming to you. And of course, every week we're joined by one of the most amazing helpers on the planet, Tara Fraolo. How are you lighting up today and taking on the world?
Hello, folks. It's nice to see you. I feel like I haven't been here in a while, but I've also done all the boosts for the last 3 days. So I have. So you've seen me a lot this week. I'm working on believing in my vision. That is what I will say. I'm working on believing in my vision. And other than that, I'm Tara Prilo. I'm your resident Black biracial multi-passionate musician. I talk about the ish that nobody wants to talk about and push you to do the same, including the fact that you listen. All skin folk ain't kinfolk, okay? Because one of y'all out there said I was a whole black lady. She was like, Harriet Tubman wasn't real. Have you seen this on the interwebs? I don't think I brought it to the deck, but
I've seen trending elements of this nonsense. Could you explain it?
A whole apology video because she was like, I didn't like I should have done more research. I was like, what did you read? That was
I
so
think some of these people are intentionally inflammatory. I think that some of them, I think some people get attention in life by going out and saying things like, you know what, slavery's not real. It's all made up. And then people go, oh my God, nuts. Harriet Tubman is real to me. She will always be real to me. Also, what's
Did
real
you
to
watch
me.
the video I sent you about her and like spirituality? I'll send it to you again.
What about it?
It was like, or manifestation. It was like, she essentially just decided that in the same way that I'm aligning with my vision, right? She decided that her circumstance was not real, right? The circumstance of being enslaved and being trapped and being beaten and all of those things was not real, right? Like that was not reality, and manifested what she ended up doing, which was freeing almost 1,000 people over her life. Crazy.
That is powerful because thoughts become things. Everything comes out of the seeds and kernels of our minds. So just like Harriet, one day we're going to have to decide what we want to be free from ourselves. One day we're going to have to make a decision about what captors and slave mentality we want to leave behind. Then another crazy decision we're going to have to make is how many people we're going to want to liberate outside of ourselves. There's so many unnamed enslaved people who probably got out and continued on to live the dream of their family or their new families post-enslavement. But Harriet said, I'm going to go back with my guns and set other people free. And so whether you believe that Harriet Tubman is real or imaginary, the story of freeing yourself and freeing those who you care about is the most powerful thing. And that's what I love about Love and Action Network. Like, we're not just trying to build our dreams. Sometimes it's very exhausting to go out and chase people the way y'all sometimes ask us to chase you to care about your dream or to chase you to care about your day. That can be exhausting, but when liberation is something that you're thinking about when you wake up throughout the day and before you go to bed in the ways that we do here in Love and Action Network, it seems like the right thing to do. Why just liberate yourself when there's so many people who want to be free? And we know from Harriet's story, as they try to what they're trying to do is erase the history of a whole group of people. They're trying to pretend like the struggle of enslaved people wasn't that big a deal. But a price was paid. A price was paid. And we continue to pay it daily by showing up here in Deconstruction Junction and the Daily Boost program and all of the ways in which we try to help people with their dreams, because when one of us is in chains, all of us is in chains. And when one of us is free, all of us are free. So that's that. Speaking of freedom, some of you know that Tara has been working diligently for the last few years on coming into alignment and wrapping her head around what it means to be Black and also part of operatic academia. For those of you who are like, what is he talking about? These are people who are opera singers, opera composers, opera enthusiasts, who are passionate about not just telling some of the stories of humanity, but all of the stories of humanity, especially those that are culturally aligned with who we are. And I'll let you take it away now. The program that she's working on is called Blackening the Canon with Tara Praolo. And anyway, what's been happening around the word was God.
And that's not even the original version. That's the IBC version. So I didn't bring this last week, y'all, because much like I struggled to talk about capitalism without being an anti-capitalist when we talk about capitalism, even though we need money to live, because hey, I should have brought the Ismatu video. I forgot. Anyway,
you annoyingly need money to live. It's like,
yeah, y'all need to come into the WhatsApp chat, because we share much more there. But I did share the Ismatu video being over the top. Anyway, I didn't bring this last week because I have a thing about copyright and licensure, and right now I am fighting with licensure companies and permissions and trying to get all of that squared away, and it all costs money, and it's all stupid, because it's do we want what we say we want as a group, right? And I mean, so far as so Black composers, Black musicians, Black classical musicians, we can be as specific as we want. Presumably what we want is for other people to hear our art and experience our art, right? And to the wider net, do poets want that, right? Does musical theater want that, right? But what I find is that so many composers, because of modern day copyright, which I don't know who that was created by, put their stuff behind paywalls and behind gates. And then right now what I'm dealing with is and this does have to do with Rosephanie Powell, there's a piece that 2 songs that I recorded that I now have to reach out to the Langston Hughes estate to get permission to sing the text. I can license the accompaniment, but I cannot license the words unless I get permission from the Langston Hughes estate. And that is crazy. Do you all want what you say you want? And if what you want is that other people sing your rep, then you need to take care of this. That is crazy. But so Rosephanie Powell.
And does the Langston Hughes family want the legacy to live on in the current iterations of the music, or do they want it to die under a hill called capitalism?
Well, and right. And the other thing is, I don't even think it's the Langston estate, because the text is available online. You can type in the poem and it pops up online. But for whatever reason, it's not I have to ask special permission, which is not written anywhere in any of the music that I would need to do that. So anyway, it's very complicated. But so Rosephanie Powell is a composer who, she's a Black woman. She's big in the choral world, right now, and has been for probably 15, 20 years. She's working into the solo rep, and yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, um, the the classical choral community kind of blew up because Indiana Bible College put out this song that went viral, right, and claimed that it was theirs, and it's called "The Word Was God." The Word was God, but and it has like a whole big band and stuff, and it's very Pentecostal and it's very. It's actually, like, I gotta say it's a bop. Okay, like
it's theatrical. It is an elevation of the dish. It's like having smoked salt from white people,
she's
put on the dish.
She's a whole bop. To which Rose Stephanie Powell was like, "Hey, that's mine." Come to find out that in 2024 they had been asked to take down another video, which they had given Rosephine Powell credit for the piece, but then went viral for this. And if you click next, you will see a couple of. So the video is linked, and we don't have to listen to the whole thing, but I think we should listen to the beginning. So let's do that. This is the update, the latest on this issue. Maps. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Here we go.
Indiana Bible College is suing Dr. Rosephine Powell in an attempt to orchestrate a public lynching through the courts. Yes, I said it. This is what they're attempting to do, a public lynching, and we will not have it. If you haven't been following the news and you don't know what's going on, a respected choral composer, her name is Dr. Rosephine Powell. She's the most published Black woman composer. She's a thought leader extraordinaire. She's an expert on choral music and Black choral music, and she's just an auntie to us all. She recently went public about copyright infringement of her piece and really misappropriation of her choral work, The Word Was God. Instead of admitting wrongdoing, Indiana Bible College is trying to silence her with a lawsuit. They're claiming defamation over her simply speaking the truth and doing so publicly. This is textbook FAFO. This is how institutions, white institutions, have historically weaponized the legal system to suppress Black voices. This tactic is not new, and we will not allow it to stand. Dr. Powell has conducted herself with the utmost grace, as always, professionalism, as always, and courage. Meanwhile, IBC has chosen manipulation, intimidation, and tactics of historical erasure to bend her to their will. So, colleagues, to creatives out there who are seeing this, it is our responsibility to call out Indiana Bible College's regressive, their abusive, and frankly racist tactics. This is bigger than one song. This is about the protection of Black legacy, of Black cultural treasures and assets, of creativity itself, of integrity, and yes, of truth.
So you get the drift. We'll link this video somewhere. Indiana Bible College is now suing Rosephine Powell.
The ancestors did not like him kissing so much of her ass that it like stopped him in his tracks. But it's fine.
Right. Sorry about the frozen video, y'all. But yeah, so essentially, Indiana Bible College is doing what white people do, using the courts to try to shut up Black people. I also tagged a post by Talia, who is talking about the same thing. Just essentially to be so ridiculous. I did not expect Indiana Bible College to be so ridiculous and sue Rosephine Powell for defamation and loss of wages. Y'all are thieves. You will only ever be known as thieves. So that is the update on that situation.
It's very interesting to be a Christian Bible college that's suing a Black woman over a spiritual. But colonizers and people who believe that they can take everything or can discredit and degrade the work of another in order to own it. We've seen this stuff throughout all of history. And so I hope that she at least comes out still getting credit for her work, but this is all about money. It's about the money of the sales of the songs from the college, and it's about her feeling like her legacy could be upended or tarnished through the theft. Her daughter went on TikTok, which I think we've covered here, and talked about how awesome her mom is. Clearly, this gentleman here, Equity Sings, loves her work. In show business, there's no such thing as bad press. So she's going to make more money from having this elevation of the story. But we have a question here in Love and Action Network that we always talk about. To what end? To what end? Like, could they have collaborated on something new and made a fresh opportunity? Yes. But we're so stuck in Black Mama, White Mama, and
That was
throwing.
on Threads this week too. Child. And now I saw this morning people going off about Cardi B. Somebody was like, she's not black. And people were like, she's Afro Latina. That's black. Mixed black. And I was like, well, thank God we're not talking about black mamas and white mamas. We're just talking about Latino and Latina.
Afro Latino mamas, the mamas. I wish that it didn't take so much of the creative and joyful air out of the room.
Yes.
So busy trying to take other people's identities from them and tell them who they are and who they're not, but they're not even showing up and expressing who they are. We had some people come on to the Clubhouse stage yesterday and call me the N-word and threaten to grape the children of the parents in the room and all kinds of things. So we got like heavy awareness around who we're supposed to negatively be in society, but we learned nothing of the people who were shit throwing those pejoratives and mean-spirited words towards us. And it's unfortunate. Like, I know that you're a dick, but I know nothing else about you. Indiana Bible College, we know that you're led by dicks. That's unfortunate when you probably want to get enrollments up and want to spread the love of God in the world and probably have people in your community in Indiana, because Indiana is backwards as fuck. I know that you have people in the community. I don't even know where Indiana Bible College is based. Indiana Bible College. But I know that there are houseless and homeless people there in Indianapolis.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So get to that instead of fighting over the word was God. Because if you're familiar with the text and you can speak Bible the way I do, it said that in the last days, which some say we're living, even though it's just the last of the days we've lived, the Spirit would pour out flesh onto all people. So the fact that they're not pouring out that love onto everybody and are engaging and putting their dead president money towards suing a black woman instead of uplifting, like they could have gone into the community and partnered with a local black high school and taught the music to them as a give back program, or asked Persephone what she wanted to do in order to restore balance in the fair and equitable exchange. None of that happened. It's just seated in court because I've got lawyers and you've got lawyers, and they need something to do today.
To make their dead presidents.
What a waste of space, time, talent, and treasure, folks. You know who's not wasting space? You know who's speaking up because she can? And we're going to talk about it a bit, as little precious white little girl.
Greta!
Greta.
You introduce this topic. I hear the baby.
Okay.
You introduce this. I'll be right back.
Yes, of course. So, for those of you who are not aware, I have no idea how to pronounce her last name, but her name is like Greta Thornberry or something very cartoonish. Let's see if we can find her last name. Greta Thunberg. For those of you who are not aware or have been living under a rock, Greta Tintin Eleonora Ernman Thornberg. Okay, in a partridge in a pear tree. Jingleheimer Schmidt. Greta Tintin Eleonora Ernman Thunberg Jingleheimer Schmidt. Her name is my name too. is a Swedish climate activist who sparked a global movement to fight climate change in 2018. At age 15, she began skipping school on Fridays to protest outside the Swedish parliament with a poster reading "School Strike for Climate." Of course, this young woman who has begun with climate change initiatives, has seen an open door for raising humanitarian issues like Gaza and other issues throughout the world. She got on a boat with a bunch of other freedom fighters and sailed her ass into Gaza. Let me pick up some fresh stories about this as well. It says Greta Thunberg and the Freedom Flotilla Coalition are sailing to Gaza. There's a tracker on them. Israel isn't real. Vows to act accordingly as Thunberg sails towards Gaza. They could shoot the boat out the water. They've been retaliating and causing harm to the moms and the dads trying to get to the food that's been dropped. There were kids crying online this week about their mom being killed trying to get flour to make bread for the community and her children. We've seen videos this week and for many months of women in the streets trying to put flour in their skirts. So, like just getting flour off the road. None of us are doing this. No one in my community is scraping flour out of the streets and trying to put it in their shirts and their dresses to make bread for their family. This is bad. And the fact that Lil Greta has to go on a boat to bring awareness to these people brings awareness to a couple things. Nobody cares until little white girls and white women care. Nobody intervenes until someone who looks like them steps in. But evil people who look like her are saying that she's going to be met with some level of force. Why are y'all trying? Well, we know why. Why do you all think you can get away with killing and starving hundreds of thousands to millions of people without us saying anything? Like Tara, no matter how big her business gets, no matter how big her music career grows, vice versa, to sit around as suffering's happening in the local community and also globally, to see it come across the phone and the Google News, and then to talk about pizza is a bastardization of my humanity. Y'all are asking me to be less than human when you don't want to talk about Gaza. You're asking me to be less than human when you don't want to talk about the homelessness in this community and the hunger in this community. Texting me to ask local business leaders who text me to ask about the scandal of the dirty photos at the arts organization, but then get very quiet when I talk about bringing musical theater training and food healing to the community. Shame on y'all. Shame on y'all. And I'm not sure if Tara put it in the deck this week on her shares, but in Minneapolis, Minnesota, there are alleged white people. Is it in the deck? There are people who are in the streets.
You're talking about ICE, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought the video. Yep.
Calling Game of Thrones shame to what's happening. Because we talked in previous weeks about the New Jersey legislator who is being targeted and sued and going through a lot of litigation as it relates to trying to be a protector of the black and brown bodies in her state. And now we're seeing Greta's doing it, and we're not standing back and just watching it. We're tracking what's happening. We're invested in it. The activists and lovers on the ground in Gaza have told us to not stop talking about it daily because they're not in a position to do so. And if I were getting flour out of the street under heavy bomb fire, I would want someone speaking up for me, especially if they were sitting in their house the way that Tara and I are working and growing our lives. How do you feel about Greta and Gasa? Why did it take this long? And what do you think is going to happen? Because she's in the whole bomb vest and everything out
Yeah,
here.
you know, I think like you, I have sort of a dichotomy of feelings about it. I'm like, yeah, Greta, loved you back when you were talking about climate change. Get it, girl. You know, like I'm very like, thank you, right? But on the flip side, and this is one of the things that I struggle with in my own activism and the place in which I occupy um, phenotypically and who I talk to a lot, right? Which are often white people, which is like, why did you take, why is it 600 and some days and you haven't been talking about this? Right? Why did it take you, you know, after George Floyd, this happened. It was like, why did it take you a week to be like, his death is wrong? You know, like, well, I don't understand what took you so long to get to the table. Like the table's done been here in the Gaza situation for longer than 600 days. Because if we're real about it, this is the thing. I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and what I realized, what I find in my Facebook memories a lot is shares from 2014, 2018 about freeing Palestine that I had completely forgotten about. So this was, I mean, this is a topic that like has been in the public eye for a very
Did
long
you
time.
did you know that Michael Jackson planned
I brought
a
it. It's in the ceasefire section. I brought that
well,
video that you shared.
that's a
I
teaser
got
for
you. I got you. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got you.
no,
But yes,
because like we're talking throughout the week, like every
yeah.
day something gets thrown on our lawn that's ridiculous. And so yeah, keep going.
Um. So, like, the thing for me about Greta, and sorry, y'all, you're gonna see me probably do some things that are not cute because my baby wants ice. So, here you go. Here you go. Oh, it fell on the floor. Uh-oh. Um, I really struggle, like, and I asked the question on Threads as well. So like there's Greta that's getting attention who's actually doing something, right? Like this is the thing about Greta. Like she is on a boat trying to get something done, which A tells me that she has
Our
some
asses are
sort of
not on a boat.
no, and but she has some sort of affluence to be able to do that. I mean, because that is a thing too, that like a lot of us, while we would like, I would be on that boat, but I ain't got the money to fly across the world. Like, you know what I mean? I can't book a flight. I can't leave my kid. Like, there are lots of things that cannot happen for me to be there. So she has some form of affluence there, right? But number two, and I wondered this aloud about Miss Rachel, right? And Greta, and there's another white lady that's like been suddenly talking about this lately, or at least is getting attention now. And I like, it's been 607 days. Like, why are you all suddenly talking about it, right? There's a
They're not, I want to be clear though. They're not suddenly talking about it. The what do you call it when a dog the muzzles
yeah, the
the
muzzles are off. Yeah.
muzzles the muzzles on society because there's such a huge outcry. Celebrities are now talking about it finally. Community leaders like ourselves have been talking about it the whole time. It's almost getting to this tipping point of ridiculousness to where it's like y'all are either in like really dumb or pretending to be,
Right.
and we got to get clear.
Right. Right. So I struggle with that part because I'm like, did you not know that it was wrong on October 7th, 2023? Or did it just take until now to get into the media enough that they're showing us that you're talking, right? With Miss Rachel, I think it's interesting for those of you that don't know who Miss Rachel is. She's a nice white lady who is like a preschool lady. Like she teaches the kids stuff on YouTube. Like I don't I've never watched her. Okay, but a bunch of people go up for Miss Rachel, even black people. Like they're like, yes, Miss Rachel, go watch Miss Rachel, go watch Miss Rachel. I'm like, I don't know who this lady is, but she teaches online. But recently, she had a baby too, like literally like 2 weeks ago. But she has been featuring
toddler learning videos. Miss Rachel.
Great. Miss Rachel. Yeah, she's very popular in the parenting world. Again, I don't really, I have not, my child's not a toddler. My child is still an infant, in case anyone was wondering. So yeah, she's been posting like videos with some Palestinian kids and like fight, like posting, leaders, you should be ashamed, like finally saying things. But again, like I just sit there and I'm like, I really struggle to not shame those people, right? I really do, because I could kind of understand it. Like I could really kind of understand it within the month of October 7th, of like, we don't even think about that part of the world because we're privileged Americans, and like we don't know we don't know what's happening, da 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 da. We don't know where our money's going, da da, like these like ignorant Americans, right? Because for the most part, we are ignorant to the rest of the world. Americans have the privilege of being ignorant to global things, unless you go look for it, right? Look at our media that's not sharing about Gaza, that took down the counters from the how many people are dying from COVID. That, like our media does not share these things with you. And so I really, yeah, I am like simultaneously, yay, Greta, somebody's doing something. We're showing people how to stand up. Da, 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 da. Like these are things that you can do, right? And also on the flip side, just being like, ooh, I really wish that you had done this 18 months ago when the bombs started falling. And
I always get this sense from people of all colors that they're kind of sticking their head around the corner, trying to see if it's safe enough to protect people. Like,
yeah,
will I lose something personally? And we've had this conversation individually and collectively here. Like, what are the actual losses that I could encounter by speaking up for brown people on the other side of the planet? And a lot of people, black, brown, crazy, of all kinds of varieties, purple, green, fuchsia, a lot of people have decided that they just want to stay out of it because that feels like a protected place for them. But I know that after they're done bombing the Gazans, they're coming for us next, and they already are doing it. Y'all should look up Palantir. Palantir is a data organization that's trying to unify all of Americans' information, and it's going to be I feel like it's going to be part of a system that disenfranchises people based on their financial histories, their political affiliations, and all kinds of things. Once they mark you as an enemy of the state in these systems, what are the consequences going to be for speaking up for places like Gaza and beyond? I also wanted to highlight here, since we like to do the deep diving in Deconstruction Junction, that Greta is not funded by a single organization or individual. She primarily funds her work through her Greta Thunberg Foundation. It's supported by award and prize money, book royalties, and donations. And so that's how she's able to get on a flotilla and float her beautiful ass to Gaza. And so, we could raise donations, build the foundations, and do the things as well. We're not as passionate as Greta is. She's doing it, and so that's why we're supporting her today on the pod, because people who are trying to speak up for everyone deserve to be celebrated. Speaking of speaking up for everyone,
have you heard it? Have you watched it yet? Girl, I linked it. Click the next slide. Click it. We're watching it together right now. We might get kicked off YouTube, but I don't care.
Wouldn't be the first or last time.
Alpha Bathrop, I know you're out here. Just come in before the monkeys spot you.
There's no going back. This is between us, the wizard, and I.
The Wicked Witch can't elude us forever. Not with Prince Fiero and his squadron hot on her trail.
No good deed goes unpunished. That's my creed.
The wonderful Wizard of Oz. No one believed in you more than I did.
Alphaba. They're coming for you.
I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason. I know I'm who I am today because I knew you.
Think of what we could do together.
Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun. Like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant war. Who can say I haven't changed for the better?
Bring me a broom of the Wicked Witch of the West.
For a while there, I thought you changed.
I have changed.
It's time. For both of us.
To fly! Because I knew you.
You're the only friend I ever had.
Because I knew you.
And I've had so many friends.
I have been changed for good.
But only one that mattered.
I'm off to see the wizard.
I'm so excited.
I have chills right now.
I'm crying. That's my second time, and I'm crying because,
I
like,
have chills. Those of you who are familiar with this story knows that they really took their time to get this one right. They had 20 years to mess this up, and so many people who've done musical remakes or book remakes have really stepped in it. And the fact that they have done this so well, so theatrically, I love her writing into the sky, "Our wizard lies," because that's a nod to what's happening in our White House and in the highest level of governments all over the world. These men, these wizards, these grand wizards, KKK, these grand wizards in society, these oppressors, are lying to us every day about what's real and what's not. They're trying to scare us. They're trying to terrorize us. They're trying to send people with pitchforks. Some of you know that my husband is recovering from a bike crash that he had earlier in the week. And the first question on everyone's mind was it a hate crime? You know, because we're in a society right now, ICE, we're going to talk about in a bit, and just being different in society makes you a social outlier and a person that people want to push against. You know, some of y'all watched on social media early in the week me get pulled over on foot by a police officer in a car because I was wearing a crazy wig looking like some sexy motherfucker named Isaac. You don't know who Isaac is, but apparently he wears very fun wigs in town because that's how I got pulled over by Walkie. There's so many pitchforks and so many people burning the flames that it could really make you feel vulnerable in a society that is lying to you. What I love about Elphaba's story, what I love about Wicked, is that you don't have to take it. Just because all of Shiz University is mistreating you, just because you got a fake ass friend named Glinda, just because you've got a dancing through life partner who ignores your hardship and sometimes sides with the mean girls, that doesn't mean that you still can't kick ass. It doesn't mean that you can't still stand up for what's right. And it doesn't mean that you can't call a liar out to their faces for being insincere. You know, I love the Wicked story. I love what John has done. They've given us new arrangements of the music that makes it fresh for those of us who've been following this for 20 years. What are you most excited about, and why are they making us wait till November?
Listen, the marketing for Wicked has been flawless. Flawless. Flawless.
Chef kiss.
Flawless. Will I be in the theater on November 21st? Highly likely. Highly likely. Have I already started planning with my mother to come down to buy the tickets and like be there? Yes. Yes. Have I seen this show 5 times? Yes. Yes. But also the costumes. Oh my God. The blue dress that you see in this poster, the buttons on the Elfie's outfit, and y'all, if you go on the Wicked movie sites, it's Wicked movie, okay, like on Instagram and on the TikToks and like all the places, okay, they show you all of the main characters, including Nessa Rose, and then there's if you look through the interwebs, there are analyses, and they talk about, I can't spoil it, but they talk about certain parts of people's costumes and how it like references something that they're becoming.
That costume designer won awards.
Oh, he
Black.
is spectacular. Blackety black. I love it. I love the colorway. I love that the colors are darker this time. I love it. I love it.
I love it. Yeah, we're very excited about Wicked for Good in our community, and we're huge musical theater heads. We love Rent, we love Wicked. There's a bunch of overlap here in the opera and the musical theater world for what's happening here, and I cannot wait to have that joy in my life. Speaking of pitchforks, we know that there are people who want to harm. We know there are people who want to vilify. We know there are people who want to ruin folks' day by calling them everything but their names. But my question is, do we have enough community care networks in our locations that we live in? And I want to encourage everyone today to start in your own special way. It could start with a notebook, or it could start with websites and directories like what we're building in Love and Action Network. But I really want to encourage everyone to know where your helpers are in your community. You don't have to know everybody, but it's important to know at least 5 to 10 people who, if you are in dire straits, or if you are feeling unsafe in your community, you have to know where the refuges are. And we're working through Airtable and a bunch of other platforms to really be able to surface directories and resources for people who are, some of these people are working 3 jobs, so they don't have time to call and to see where the bread is. They don't have time to call and to see where the resources are. What say you, Tara, before my Alexa starts yelling about Community Care Network?
I think that this is where we all need to start. You +1, the baby just like trust fell. But on to the bottom. We are learning. We're learning. But yeah, U+1. You know, I I'll speak from personal experience that sometimes being a parent can actually be really isolating because you don't like if you don't set up a network prior to the birth of your child, because then you really feel like nobody wants to put up with your child, or you know, like you just feel very alone. Even in like the infertility networks, it has a habit. Also, I don't know if y'all can hear what's happening outside, but it's very loud outside. Anyway, I think I just think it's important. A lot of us feel very alone, or like we have to learn everything ourselves, and that is a lie that capitalism tells you. It's a lie. It's a lie. There is always going to be someone that you can make a connection with that is going to help you, right? And that is able to help you for whatever you have or need, right? So I just think they're really important, and I think we can seek them out more instead of seeking out seeking out YouTube videos to help ourselves.
I always share with people to work smart, not hard. And there's a bunch of you, myself included, who are sometimes addicted to the struggle, addicted to doing it by yourself. You know, you fuck it, I'll just do it myself kinds of people. Then you turn around wondering why you're exhausted. You're
Right.
exhausted because you don't have a network, number one. And you're also exhausted because you don't trust the network you have. You don't trust that the people, even if it's 2 or 3 people, or 4 people, or 5 people, a handful, you don't trust that they're actually going to make space for you in order to be okay. And what we're really working on within our network is finding the people who are honest enough, open enough, willing and available enough to actually show up. We have families, we're raising kids and husbands. So we're just as strapped for time and sometimes cash, you know, as everyone else, but we are willing to care. And there is someone in your community and in your network and in your family and your church space, in your school spaces, wherever you frequent, there are a group of people who are there who want to work smart, not hard as well. I've said this for years. If you have 10 people giving 10% effort, that's 100% effort. So no one has to give 100, no one has to give 125%. We're able to show up in this network and show up in the world doing our part. And mapping these community care networks throughout the country and around the world is part of what we're doing. It's like our Greta project. You know, we can't do it all and we can't help everybody, but we can certainly help those who are in our immediate environment and also ourselves. And it's important to love yourself enough to help yourself and to lean into those who want to help you as well. And I'm telling you, y'all think it's this elaborate pride game or this, you know, huge thing. It's not. It is help. 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 And eventually someone's going to go, oh, there's someone laying in the street. Oh, there's someone in a hospital bed. Oh, there's somebody who needs a donation. Oh, there's someone who needs a gig. You know, there's always going to be someone who wants to bridge you forward. I'm going to let Tara kick off this next point while I go and answer Mother Nature in the middle of this podcast. Crazy heaviness out the gate.
Yeah. So Jonathan Joss, you may know him. I did not know this, but he's a voiceover actor, or was a voiceover actor on I'm gonna forget what it was. King of the Hill. King of the Hill. It was that one. Anyway, he is a indigenous gay man who was terrorized and then shot and killed. And the reason why it says Jonathan Joss's murder is a hate crime is because currently, I can't remember what city it's in, but I think it's LA. They are refusing to classify his murder as a hate crime, which it was. if you go look at the statement of his husband, they were building this new house. They were getting ready to move in, and their dog was they had experienced slurs and being called names and just general distaste from the community around them for being gay. And their dog was murdered and hung up, like strung up after death. The skull was present, the harness was present. It was like displayed for them to see. And as they were grieving their dog, right, in front of their house, someone walked up and started yelling slurs at them, pulled out a gun, and Jonathan took the bullet for his husband. And I, like a lot of the other things that we have talked about, Gaza, Flint, many, many other things, this is one of those things that should not go untalked about, right? This absolutely must be talked about, not just because he was gay, not just because it is Pride Month, but also because he is yet another Indigenous murder, right? Yet another person who is Indigenous and was murdered. And so I think I added some things. There's some great threads posts that show his husband's statement. And then just and Dr. Flo also has reposted this. You can go on and you can just make it a train. Jonathan Joss's murder is a hate crime. Jonathan Joss's murder is a hate crime. Jonathan Joss's murder is a hate crime. That was his dog.
And the reason why I'm jumping on this bandwagon for justice is because in these bigoted, racist, and homophobic environments, police and local community members often try to go, well, we don't really know what happened. We're not familiar with this. We can't call it a hate crime because we're just not sure. Community members had threatened to kill these people's animals and did it. Community members had threatened to burn their house down for years and did it. These were bullies and community antagonizing people, including local law enforcement, who were threatening these men who are same gender loving, who are minding their business.
Right. And Jonathan and his husband reported. They reported, like the police knew about this. They knew.
But the police people fail to recognize this throughout the country. The police is actually okay with bullying people who seem like they are lesser in their value in society. I have been in New York City where the moment that the cops showed up and recognized that it was a queer house or queer environment, they took the crime and the aggression of the outsiders less seriously. It's almost like we live in a society that collectively believes that gay people and people who are different deserve what's coming to them. If you were not so out with your love, if you were not so out with who you are, then no one would be antagonizing you. But you know what this situation is giving me? And I'm going to give space for you to read these pieces if you want to. But this is giving, if you ever watched, oh my God, that weirdo who rapes the children, Kevin Spacey did a very famous movie called American Beauty. And in that movie, spoiler alert, fast forward if you don't want to hear it, the neighbor is like a closeted homosexual father who thinks that Kevin Spacey's character is molesting his son. But because of his internalized homophobia, he ends up murdering the neighbor. Some of y'all can't handle these kinds of real conversations because you try to pretend like life is better than what it is. But all roads point to humans not minding their business and being overly invested in the private lives of other humans. You cannot tell me that the guy who killed Jonathan Joss was not a fag or fag adjacent. Because people who do not internally struggle with homophobia or their homosexual feelings, like, they don't go out of their way to harm other people. And this is literally something that I will stand by. The guy in your family who's constantly bringing up gay people and his hatred of gay people or his desire to harm gay people is a homosexual himself. We see this every day on Clubhouse. People come to our stages to bring up homosexual lifestyle behaviors and try to act like I brought it up first. It just happened yesterday on a stage. We were in there talking about our dreams and our hopes and our futures. Here comes someone to remind me that I'm gay and all the things I do in bed. You're only obsessed with the homosexual lifestyle and what homosexuals are doing because you are a faggot yourself. Okay? I feel the same way about DL men. If you're bringing up gay people all the time, and like I said it before, if you got some man in your community that acts very aggressive towards trans people and gay people, he is a closet homosexual who's on the struggle bus to nowhere. And Poppy Waters says it a lot. This is a DL world. We're just living in it. The amount of men that show up behind you in the restroom, the amount of cops that that pull you over in wigs, calling you someone else, y'all are not okay with your feelings sexually. You came up in an American repressed society that did not want you to be a person, a boy child, or a grown man that has dolls. A black man in a dress online on Clubhouse. A black man in a dress is not a humiliation ritual in Hollywood unless y'all were homophobic and transphobic in the first place. The only way that I can be embarrassed as a gay person is if y'all want me to feel that way. All right, if you're trying to make me feel that way. So I feel bad for this guy who was trying to get out of Texas and mind his business, but someone decided to insert themselves in his narrative. Was that guy on Grindr? Was that guy sneaking around town? Did that guy have a history since high school of antagonizing gay people? We'll probably find a history of a person who was never okay with this live and let live thing that we do over here. I don't care what you're doing when I'm not around. It's none of my business. And the fact that you all are so preoccupied with other people's sex lives to the point of murder tells you that we need more mental health care in the society than we want to actually recognize. I can't stand you bitches. Is there enough? This question has really helped me come from under the vitriol I feel inside as it relates to people murdering people because they can't mind their business. So I have to ask myself, is there enough compassion in my heart? Is there enough love in my heart? Is there enough belonging to myself? Is there enough peace that I can give to myself today to walk around in life wearing my very fun wig? Is there enough confidence? Is there enough self-love? And this was brought into our community by a gentleman stranger on Clubhouse named Daniel. I'll say Daniel M because I don't really know how to pronounce his last name, but he's working on a global movement asking the question, is there enough? Is there enough hope? Oop, the doll just fell over. Is there enough hope? Is there enough care? Is there enough time, talent, and treasure on your part to see your dream come true today? And ever since asking these very simple questions, the biggest one that we ask in our network that we're implementing is there enough agreement? Because sometimes our programs in life, sometimes the things that we're committed to don't move forward because people are not really in agreement. If you're sitting in your life right now and you're wondering why your dreams aren't coming true, it could be because there's not enough agreement between you and your dreams. If you're wondering why that person has not come into your group chat or called you back to check on you, it's because there's not enough alignment as it relates to your relationship. Are you willing to see where there is enough alignment and where there isn't? Tara and I have been friends and collaborators and colleagues and coached each other for 4 years. There were times, you all, where there was not enough agreement to be in the same space digitally. Well, that's pretty much the only space because Tara and I have been working together faithfully for 4 years. We've never met in real life. And sometimes you just don't want to engage the other person's crazy that day. Is there enough space? Is there enough forgiveness? I mean, the list goes on and on. And I think at the bottom of this particular rainbow of is there enough is a pot of gold of truth. I'm not talking to none of y'all anymore if there's not enough alignment. If there's not enough time, talent, and treasure on my part to be in community space with you, if I don't, is there enough patience to hear you talk for the 2000th time about why your dreams aren't coming true when you know that you're not willing to download the videos and upload them to
The
Substack?
container.
Yeah, is there enough space in your energetic, spiritual, professional container to actually show up for you? And oftentimes, people will talk a good game, Tara, but when you get to the nitty gritty of it, there's not enough time. There's not enough treasure. There's not enough talent. The talent hasn't been cultivated. Is there enough education? Are there enough resources for you to get your shit together, girl? It's not a question that I can answer for you. It's a question that you have to answer for yourself in order to make your dreams come true. I said to decent amount of fanfare because in this community they were asking for in this community they were asking for testimonials about the work. And I said, the Is There Enough campaign holds the power to heal 10 generations forward and 10 generations back when placed in the hands of those who truly embrace its core philosophies. Those who find resonance with its message will discover a deeper freedom here and beyond. Because if you really start drilling down into your life and being real with yourself, you'll find that sometimes you will say that you want something, but is there enough tenacity to actually stick with it? You know, is there enough passion to launch the things you say you want? Is there enough patience to be gentle with a partner and a kid and a loved one? Big questions. How are you approaching this thought experiment this week?
Yeah, I mean, for me right now, and I've talked with, talked with Dr. Flo about this privately. I don't know why that was so hard, but it was hard. But right now is there enough passion to continue when there is no validation? Right? Is there enough passion? Is there enough passion to go through the pain? Is there enough passion to go through the suffering? Is there enough passion to go through the mundane? Is there enough? Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
Translate the baby talk, y'all. I don't know if y'all heard that. Hello, Lady
Is
Diva.
there enough joy and gibberish? You know, is
Yes.
there enough expression? Is there enough confidence? Babies confidently tell you exactly what they want the moment they want it. They don't compose an email and leave it in draft. They don't say, "Oh, now's not a good time. I'll yell later." They
They
are
just
very,
yell.
they just yell, and they feel that they deserve the support and care on the other side of that yelling. And I want to get there in my life as well. Let's talk about
Great.
ICE.
Okay, so there's a link to Portia's thread about this. But before we go there, I want to read this from Zelly Imani. I don't even know who this person is, but I have enjoyed following them for the last couple weeks. It says, you don't stop ICE raids by reforming ICE. You stop them by abolishing it and refusing to create anything in its image. And I was so moved by the last part of that statement. Right? You stop them by abolishing it and refusing to create anything in its image. And I need us to just do a big picture thing, because a lot of y'all think that you're creating something by making a nonprofit, right? That you're creating something different, or you think that you're being different by doing XYZ. And the reality is you're still creating within the image of capitalism and colonization. That's the reality. And so the refusal to create anything in the image of what we know is what we need more of. More of that energy. More of that energy, please. But let's go to Portia, which is not really Portia's video. It's just a video that she shared.
I put down on the screen, are you willing to break the chains?
Yeah.
Are you willing to not reform the police or this informal Gestapo that's terrorizing all kinds of industries? They were snatching people out of Congress offices a couple of days ago.
Yes,
But they're clearly trying to do a fear and paranoia kind of thing with everybody, and I'm just not going with it. I'm not going to.
Neither was Minneapolis. So this was down the street from me at the Capitol. So, and Portia says in there, for people wringing their hands, wondering what they should do, this, right? So, like, I think weeks ago we talked about the protests that all the white people went to and gave $90,000 to some person or whatever the number was. Anyway, this is what you can do, right? Like going somewhere and putting yourself in the way of this happening. Now, the backstory of this is that the federal ICE said they were coming. Then Minnesota said, okay, we'll let you come. Then they told us, the people of Minnesota, that it wasn't ICE. That ICE didn't come. This was just a federal drug raid. Stop lying.
They cannot get their story straight, can they?
Stop lying. So anyway, this, I don't think that anyone was taken. Oh, no, that's not true. No one was taken by ICE. However, if you go on my personal Facebook page and I believe my Instagram stories, yes, there is a person named Gloria, a community protector, artist, and this is from Myrtle Lemon Todd, Sharky Lemon on Instagram. Community protector, artist, and friend Gloria was arrested on 6/3 during the protesting of ICE and militarized police searches in Bloomington, Minnesota. Their bail is $6K. So we're trying to raise $6K. There's a GoFundMe, bit.ly/freegloria3, in case anyone is interested in giving to that. So yeah, that's the only one that I have heard of being taken, but we know what it was.
And all of those people there saying get the fuck out could also have taken that person back
Right.
And bashed some cops in the process. But we're not quite at that part of the revolution yet. But stay tuned, folks. Y'all march in the street. You asked for over a year, what can I do? What can I do? And we're now seeing that there is something that can be done, but it takes people a while. Like I said, looking around the corner to see, is it safe enough to do so? Just know after they're done terrorizing those harmless people, they're coming for your ass next. And the reason why they're coming is because they're intentionally trying to disconnect us when they know that we're adulting so hard. The majority feedback that I get from people who are interested in coaching or interested in being in community is that they're so busy. They're so overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed by their thoughts. They don't have enough time. They don't have enough space to contribute back to relationships. You know, they are they're too busy to text into a group chat, but they definitely want to hear from you. You know, and I'm like, where is the meeting of the minds of how we're going to be connected enough for things to get better? And I just want to stop here and just pause this week to just say that you're not a bad person for adulting and getting caught up in your life. And you're not a bad person for feeling disconnected, because all of this stuff is happening as strings are being pulled by people whose names we know and people whose names we don't know using the internet. Some of us are getting, because we're seeking it out, all of the information of what's happening, or as much as we can gather. Some of us don't even know that Greta's on the water. And so we're really having to work hard through the community caring networks and through what we do here in Love in Action to make sure that our community and our core is not disconnected because we just decided to not put full effort forward today. You know?
Right. Well, and back to your community care network segment. You know, Dr. Flo and I, he said it, we've been working together virtually for 4 years. And so we know each other well enough to know that community care thing of like, I noticed, hey, Dr. Flo hasn't been on since 7:30 this morning. Oh, it's room time. I was 20 minutes late, but it was room time. Let me go check on these people, right? Let me go community for a sec and tell people where I am just in case. Right. And this is the thing, but you have to be so, you know, I want to give a little like back to the, is there enough, you know, like, is there enough connection? Is there enough? Am I connecting enough? Right. Am I connecting enough? Is there enough energy to connect? Right. And what I realized over the last couple of days, I've been posting back into my broadcast channel on Instagram. Asking for, because I'm doing pride boxes. I'm challenging myself to like get back to posting more frequently on Instagram and on the spaces, because I've been pretty overwhelmed with like IRL and community care, right? I've been in community for months. 4 months, and y'all haven't really seen any of it. Like, if you haven't been in community with us,
it's not as easy as it looks, folks. We make it look easy with our little fancy screens and our PowerPoints and things, but being in community does require a certain level of energy and effort.
Yeah.
Is there enough?
Yeah, and so, you know, one thing that I was noticing last night, I was like, oh, I'm actually lifted by this, even if nobody responds, right? Like I am doing the work of connecting. I'm doing that work, and that feels good. And so, you know, again, there's no fault for needing to disconnect. Heck, I changed to only listening to the news on the podcast that I share with you all. I do not listen to Pod Save the World. I do not listen to Pod Save America. I don't even listen to Pod Save the People. I don't listen to The Bulwark, and I don't listen to 5-4, and I don't listen to Strict Scrutiny. I don't listen to any of these podcasts anymore. I listen to my true crime ones, because those are past stories that I can't do nothing about, you know? But I don't listen. I like, literally, the people are dead. Like, most of the time they're telling stories of both the murderer is done dead and the victim is very dead. Okay.
Jesus.
So, you know, there's nothing I can do in that situation because they're all dead. So, you know, but that's the only time I listen to the news. So I understand needing to disconnect. I understand wanting to put your phone down because capitalism sucks. I understand not wanting to get sold to. I understand not wanting to sell. I understand all of that. And when we find a way that we can connect that feels joyful, latch onto it and go. That's all.
Yeah, folks, and remember, we haven't brought this into our pod show yet, and thank y'all for listening over on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Substack, wherever you source your joy. We haven't brought it in here yet, but joy is an actual weapon. Joy is the revolution, as Tara would say. Joy, you may not feel like it because of all of the external feedback and that you're getting, but joy actually has the ability to transform a lot of the hardship that we see. And we laugh here every day. We joke about it. Sometimes we're laughing at ourselves. Sometimes we're laughing at other people. Tara and I spent almost an hour of warm up for today's podcast, just laughing at the absurdity of ourselves and the people in our lives and what we have to contend with, while also bringing joy to you all. You know, it is a space where you have to be thinking about adulting and the disconnection, and then just saying, like, I want to have joy anyway. And another thing that we're bringing our joy to is the declaration of ceasefire now.
I brought
First, perfect. When I started over a year ago, declaring ceasefire now in the world, it didn't feel like a joyful thing. It felt quite heavy, and it felt lonely at times when Tara wasn't saying it and our community wasn't raising it. We had former members of our network and community leaders who didn't even want to like whisper it at the time that the bombs were falling on innocent children and adults and people. I have since decided that standing up for humans that I know and don't know makes me happy. We have not gotten into it yet, but it's sitting in the queue of a program to run here. Pleasure activism. There's a way in which we can activate the message of ceasefire now and still keep our smiles. Oh, yes. There's a way in which we can care for our community and be joyful. There's a way in which we can get up, tend to the children, both physical and our dreams, and not waver from the joy. Your activism work, your love work does not have to be something that depletes you. It can actually turn, and but you're going to have to work at it. It doesn't start that way. It starts off as like a howling into the darkness of the night. But eventually you build up the strength, courage, and wisdom to just get it done. And for those of you who are out there listening to us right now who haven't found the words for advocating for other people, we have programs that will help you with that, but also just follow what we're doing. We're not perfect people. We don't have all of our shit together, but we know enough about the situations to say something. I don't want to be standing by while the old lady crossing the street gets mugged. That's just not what I'm set up like. Are you willing to break the chains?
ceasefire now in our hearts, our minds, and the world over. Also, just say that if you're talking about AI from the premise of it being bad for the environment, mayhaps you should also be calling for a ceasefire because bombs are bad for the environment too. Okay, so we've got the Greta video, but let's hold off on that because I'll read this other one from NPR. It says, for the third time in as many days, Palestinians in Gaza have been shot while trying to get food. Israel has acknowledged that its soldiers opened fire on people who were approaching them. Yeah, and then there's one more slide, and then we'll go back to Greta.
This is some bullshit because, once again, I'm not getting flour out of the street for my family, and I'm not getting shot on the way to the Food Lion for wings.
Me either.
And our society at large globally has an issue because we lack empathy.
Completely.
Like, we know that pain is real. We know that gunshots hurt. Some of y'all can't even, like, I've got because I've been washing my hands more than usual, tending to Poppy's wounds and things. My cuticle is starting to crack, right here a little bit. And it's really annoying and a bit painful, or it was more painful than it is now. Like, if Lady Diva just took a dive.
I heard her.
I'll get you, girl. And your weave. If I can't stomach or stand a cuticle cut, what is it feeling like for people who see food dropping out of the sky? But it's, and these IDF soldiers know of the wickedness they perpetrate.
They do.
It's a major issue that these people who do not look like Tara and I lack so much empathy, and then the greater society just allows it. Nuts.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the video that you shared, Flo. It is linked, so it should go right there. There we go.
Made a song about Palestine that Sony refused to release in 1993 called Don't Cry, Palestine. And 2 months later, after they refused to release it, all the allegations about MJ started to surface. Sounds about right. Free Palestine, baby. How am I just...
Yeah. And then shall we watch the Greta video? And then we'll finish it up. Oop, here it comes. I think I linked to the right one.
Currently standing on the Madeleine, the ship that on Sunday, June 1st, will attempt to again sail towards Gaza and to try to break the siege and open up a humanitarian corridor by delivering aid like food and medical supplies. The last time we attempted this, about a month ago, the boat Junction that we were about to board, just a couple of hours before we were planning to board and set sail, it got bombed twice, and all evidence suggests that it was Israel who did it.
Oh my god.
So now we are here in Catania, outside of Sicily, to try to continue our mission to try again. Because currently we are watching a systematic starvation of 2 million people, a live stream genocide, and the world's silence is deadly. That is why we have to keep trying everything we can, even if the odds are against us, to try to protest and do everything we can to stand against Israel's atrocities and war crimes, and to support and stand in solidarity with the people of Palestine. So keep your eyes on deck, continue flooding the streets, organize, boycott, and do everything in your power to stand for Palestine.
You humans really exhaust me. I want you to know to your faces, as a matter of record, that y'all really exhaust me. Bombing a group of people who want to open a corridor to feed people is sinister and evil, no matter how you cut it. I didn't know until now that they had been bombed once by Isn't Real for trying to help people. And that's why a lot of freedom fighters are afraid. They don't want to get bombed for helping people. And people in power who seek to oppress want to scare all of us in this way. They tried to do it to the civil rights workers in the 60s.
You
They
did it
are
to Michael Jackson.
did it to Michael Jackson. It's just like, no matter whether you're a multimillionaire or a person with $5, they want you afraid. And I think you should wake up. I really do think that you should wake up. Which leads us to one of our final slides of the day. What comes next? On Clubhouse, we've been doing a series of rooms called AM Thoughts and Decisions, PM Thoughts and Decisions.
Uh-oh.
To breath in my body.
You're back. That was crazy. And now they tried it to us, y'all. You think these platforms are not free? These platforms are not free. You just saw it. You literally just saw it in real time.
It's how I know that we are onto something. It's how I know that we are chipping away at the last of these energetic, spiritual, physical, and professional strongholds. People are speaking up. Black and brown people are going into their city council meetings, standing inches from their police commissioners' faces and saying, if you take another one of our child's lives in this community, we will be doing the same to you and your community.
Right. You cannot unalive us.
Expect us to handle the job. So what comes next for me is to continue to love my people and to love folks that I don't know. I always come into these spaces with an axe to grind, especially as it pertains to religious people, because there's tenets in every religion to protect those who are less fortunate, to care for those who cannot protect themselves. And the fact that so many faith-based organizations, especially the Christians and the Muslims and Buddhists, and like there are believers worldwide who are being quiet in the moments where all of their spiritual texts tell them to do something. So what comes next for me? Continuing to raise concerts of hope, to continue to sit vigil for those who have died, and to hold space for love as the answer, as opposed to this vibration of fear and paranoia that they're trying to put us into a hypnotic rhythm of. I'm just not going, after 40 years of living under fear and paranoia and threat, everything from checking your mailbox as a gay to speaking up for what's right in society. If you're going to get me, you're going to get me, but you're not going to get me afraid. As Tara says, I'm going to die on my feet because it's just not right. And I don't understand police officers, politicians, and CEOs and community members who don't want to say, yo, this is wrong. If you're not talking about it at your dinner table, it's because the people at your dinner table lack empathy and don't want to be involved because they feel like life is tough enough. Why worry about the 2 million people who are starving? Starvation is a real harmful condition. Like, it doesn't feel good to starve. Most of us watching this podcast or watching the videos of this podcast or listening to the podcast, you've not been hungry recently. So you're out of touch. And what comes next are real conversations in our households, in our community. And even if it alienates people, it makes, we got people in our community, y'all, who really want to just be in our group chat. Don't come in our group chat if you don't want to talk about gossip. Don't come in our group chat if you don't want to talk about liberating your mind. Don't come in our liberation spaces if you want to be in chains. We're moving in different directions. What comes next for you, Praolo, as it relates to what you're seeing and taking in from society, and what comes next about your response?
Yeah, I think Greta mentioned something that we have to keep trying everything that we can. And I also saw before I got on here, I'd already. That's freedom. Just want y'all to know. That is the encouragement that I want to cultivate in all of you, that confidence of just saying whatever, right? But Greta leaned to it, and I saw this thread about calling senators is actually the least effective thing that we can do, but it's the thing that gets talked about the most. And so for me, what comes next and what I see on the horizon and what keeps me going, people ask me that all the time. Tara, what keeps you going? Tara, what keeps you going? I'm so old and over it. What keeps you going? What keeps me going is that I know that when there's a critical mass of people, which is not so big, it's literally like a percentage point, not even a majority. We don't even need a majority. We need I think it's 15%. I think it's a very, and pardon my light is moving with my baby. It's a very small number of percentage of people that we need to amass in order to change the world. And I know that through my work and what I have done over the last 4 years with Dr. Flo and before that, and what I'm going to do in the future is going to be a part of that. It is going to be a part of getting the 15% or the 13% or whatever it is. I don't remember what the number is, but there is a critical mass, and I think we're approaching it. And I think Greta's right about that. We are seeing the streets filled. We are seeing, again, we're talking about 3 white ladies who are finally speaking up about Gaza. That would not have happened a couple of months ago. So that's what I think comes next. That's what keeps me marching towards singing for my liberation, right? And singing for your liberation and giving an outlet to continue. Because that the real thing that I think that a lot of people don't want to talk about right now is that every single person is struggling to put one foot in front of the other in some way. That forward motion is the thing that they're trying to stall, and that your brain is trying to stall. One foot in front of the other. Hey, Loretta. Hey, girl. So yeah, that is, for me, it's putting one foot in front of the other so that another person can put one foot in front of the other.
And trust your resilience. What comes next for me and Tara individually and collectively, even though I can't speak for her, she speaks for herself. We've really been working on anchoring in each other what it feels like to be resilient. Like really calling upon Tara's last 60 years of living on the planet. She's 60 years old, guys. Doesn't she look great?
Black don't crack.
But where are the moments in the last 60 years of Tara's lives and the last 80 of my lives, multiple lives lived at the same time? Where are the moments, Loretta, where you have been resilient? Where are the moments when you thought that you would not be able to stand up, but there was courage in there? There was confidence in there. There was a belonging to yourself that allowed you to belong to other people. And I will continue to remind Tara that she was a bad somebody before, meaning good, for those of you who don't track Black people in the way they talk. She was a bad mama jamma before she met me, because she was resilient. Her resilience has gotten stronger in our relationship and will only continue to exponentially grow, because the things you focus on are the things that will grow in your life. And what comes next for us is a resilient ending and a resilient process. What does that look like? Oh my goodness. This week, y'all, I'm so glad that Loretta's in the room so I can tell her thank you on the podcast. this week I feel like the Love Revival and Academy officially kicked off because I was able to sing for the Chicago Public Library for Miss Murray and the kids and the adults. This idea that the world deserves to know that they're loved and lovable, that people deserve to know it, that your dreams deserve to know that they're loved and lovable, and that everybody, as a musician, started at middle C, started learning the fingering of their instrument. Even the baby over there in Minnesota is learning how to strike the keyboard and how to play the piano. It all starts somewhere, and it's from a place of wanting to encourage, equip, and empower. So I had an amazing time on Tuesday sharing with the kids and the library program in Chicago. It really strengthened my confidence, and courage as it relates to the stories I'm supposed to tell with people and how I'm supposed to set people free. Could you tell them a bit more about the Love Revival in your point of view?
Yeah, the Love Revival, and I think our injured friend Suze is home. I have a student in 9 minutes, so we're gonna wrap it up. But also, the Love Revival. Dr. Flo used to say more often than he does now that there is a love revival waiting to break out in all of us. And what we're really, I find that when I talk to people about, like, if we go 5 whys deep on our dreams, most people are seeking freedom, love, joy for all. Where hair and makeup has entered the building. He was not going to let that fly. So many artists do this, even if they're instrumentalists or even if they're like painters. Oftentimes they also do this with their voice. And what Dr. Flo seeks to do with a love revival and the love experience and these concerts of hope is to give you the escape that motivates you to go forward into that love, into that joy, and into that freedom. Right?
My favorite part of the week was the kids and the adults and the librarians dancing in the aisles of the meeting room, and I'm miles away. Like, to give, to your point, to give people that hope and that joy and that moment of reprieve when life is so heavy for the kids. Y'all gotta realize that we talked earlier about disconnection and adulting. You don't think that the disconnection of adulting affects the kids? This is why we're bringing social emotional learning and color magic and Black music through the decades and all kinds of fun experiences to kids of all ages, because we need that release valve, and we are the joy leaders who are able to help anchor in a higher vibration and raise a higher vibration for the people who are seeking it. And doing the Q&As with the kids, kikiing with the parents, loving on Miss Murray, librarian too, at the Whitney Young Junior Library. What a blast to be able to pour that love and encouragement into other folks. Loretta's saying remotely, Dr. Flo put on a phenomenal performance. We at the Chicago Public Library enjoyed it immensely. We thank you so very much, Dr. Flo. Trust me, it was just as blessed to give the joy as to receive back the reflection, Loretta. And I'm grateful for all the ways that you pour into our community with your time, talent, and treasure. And just know that you lit a spark of creation in Tara and in myself and in all of those who want to see a dream come true in this life. And what we recognized is that we are the kinds of people, I've never met Miss Murray, Loretta, I've never met Tara in real life, but we're still the kinds of people that can pull off giant events without ever being in the same room. So those of you who are in communities with loved ones who are sitting around saying like, well, I don't know if we can do a show or whatever. Well, I don't know if we can build a project over the next 4 years. Just know that we are hushing the mouths of those who want to make excuses by simply showing up and doing what we do, which is to encourage, equip, and empower people and to love on each other. And some of y'all know the backstory. Poppy Water had a tumble off of his bike on Tuesday, but it did not stop the encouragement and the flow of love. We got him all bandaged up, and then we went to dance with the kids. And that's the resilience that we teach in the revival. That's the love and the joy that we teach in the academy. And I can't wait to do more for the planet and to do more with all of my exciting collaborators. We're currently bringing into formation and bringing to fruition the Adopt a Black Artist program. We've been adopting our husbands and adopting our kids a bit more than the strangers we met on the internet, but we will be back shortly, y'all, to highlight the artists that we've met and to bring others in the fold. This is a promotion and mentorship program where we want to help all Black artists see it for themselves. I met a child named London on Tuesday who is a Black artist that I want to adopt. You know, how is she going to matriculate in her music? How is she going to grow in her personal expression? How is her personal expression going to be a blessing to her family and cousins and aunts and uncles who I've never met? It's important that we love and care for one another, and our Adopt a Black Artist program is part of that love flow. Also, if you're out there in the world and you're looking to encourage people using the power of love through music, theater, and art, the way we did on Tuesday in Chicago, I'm hiring assistants and support people to help us move this forward. We're moving, you know, some days it feels like I'm sloth-like. That could also be the indica. But sometimes it just feels like our dreams are just moving at a snail's pace. When you have community, you can move exponentially faster because of the love, support, and care. And we have a small core, about 5 or 6 people in Love and Action Network, including Miss Murray and Tara and Poppy. We could move faster, but we're only going to be able to do that if we have your passion and your purpose on deck. So go to the website, look into our newly placed selector tools. If you need help with your presentation, performance, or your vocal performance, or life coaching or business planning, we would love to bring you into that work as well. We will not stop until everyone that we see that wants the encouragement are actually encouraged. Speaking of encouragement, Tara, back in the 30s, when she was growing up, went to music school, and there weren't a lot of people like her in her programs. There were not a lot of people like her teaching her classical music. She had to shoehorn herself into the classics to be accepted by classical academia. We are setting the captives free, folks. We are no longer believing that predetermined and pre-described pathways are the only ways that we can make our dreams come true. So look forward over the next 10 years plus for Tara to be going into these larger institutions, going into the libraries like we did, going into the spaces and telling people it's okay to bring your Black art here. It's okay to blacken the canon. It's okay to diversify your programs. It's okay to speak up and say, you know, I don't feel represented in the art I'm presenting. Is there a higher vibration for me? Tara, what is the higher vibration that you're seeking when you say things like, I'm Tara Parolo and I'm seeking to blacken the canon?
I want people to be able to see themselves. It is my belief that whiteness steals from Blackness an awful lot, right? We know this. And that all of classical music was actually built on sounds from people, Black people and brown people in the islands, etc. We know that it was influenced by this from the World Fair and beyond. And so I want to be able to see kids go to school and not Like, one thing that I don't talk about enough, and I will probably make a reel about it later, and I do have to go because I have a student soon. But anyway, they're not here yet. But one thing that I don't talk about enough is when you go to music school, the first thing that your teacher teaches you often is to strip yourself of everything that you are, to become a blank slate so that you can put on another character, right? So you can put on something else. It is my argument that there would be stronger artists in the world if we were allowed to keep our identity. If we were allowed to keep our identity as we go through school. And I believe that we can do that through having access to all types of music. And my student is now here. So would you do me a favor and close it out? I love you. Thank you so much.
Tara Parolo, everybody, a woman of the world, sharing her magic with kids of all ages and encouraging and equipping everybody. Thank y'all so much for being here today. We were here for an hour and 45 minutes talking about Greta, Gaza, dreams, passions, purpose, growth. What a fun almost 2 hours of connection. We're here every Thursday in the afternoons to talk about the ish that nobody else wants to talk about. And as Tara would say, to push you all to do the same. I hope that you enjoyed our connection today. Been so live today that one of my mics died. On behalf of Terra Olo Studio, Poppy Water 33 in the House of Mommy Water, myself, Andre, and the Flow, we thank you so much for holding space for love today and holding space daily for love. We invite you to stay in your power, stay in your joy, and stay loved and lovable. This will be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Substack, YouTube, and wherever else you source your joy. Thank you so much to the wonderful Loretta Murray for stopping by today. Thank you to Angie, Jabanga in Nigeria, and everybody else who shows up for our programs to encourage, equip, and empower the world. Stay awesome, y'all. Stay in your power, stay in your joy, stay loved and loved.